than that this month?
Yeah, we're sticking with June, which when you get these flare-ups offshore, sometimes rattle that strength of convictions there. But we saw the Bank of Canada raise rates last night. I think it's one of those situations where all the models and the computer probably says go, but the gut instinct, if you've got a bit of concerns about the offshore developments, might say pause for another until the next meeting. But you know, the emergency, I think, is past, and so it's time to start removing the emergency settings and getting them back towards neutral, even if they're going to stay fairly accommodative or stimulatory for a while yet. But like Canada, it's probably time to get going and start raising the rates slowly.
Well, thanks very much for that, David and Chris. Well, up next, we ask our guests where to from here. Welcome back. Well, it's been a good, lively discussion today, and we never seem to have enough time to cover everything I would like to. But there are a couple of points which I would like to introduce into our discussion. We ran out of time, Chris, to talk about the Crafers and Mei Wang and her Chinese backers and their attempts to buy up Dairyland, particularly from the Crafers. Now, the Registrar of Companies is considering banning Mei Wang as a company director or manager after 8 businesses under her control collapsed in the last 4 years. How does that make things look for the Chinese bid in your experience?
Well, I guess you've got two issues, and one is the individual situation there, which you know, the numbers you're mentioning speak for themselves in a way. But you know, rather than commenting on that matter, I think the broader issue for New Zealand to deal with is the issue of foreign ownership.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't have a great savings track record here and investment culture, we're going to really rely on foreign ownership if we want to sell some of these big assets, because there's just not an obvious pool of local savers that are willing to sweep in like the offshore buyers are.
There is, though, that pool of savings in the form of the Cullen Fund, and Adrian Orr has said he's not discounting any possibility, including buying up local dairying businesses. So maybe the Cullen Fund could actually be investing in New Zealand real estate.
They can invest in anything, but that fund has got its own stream of liabilities it needs to meet. So as an asset manager, it's a question of are dairy farms the appropriate assets to match up with the pension liabilities it's going to have to pay out in the future.
Haven't they sort of ring-fenced $300 to $500 million, I think, for buying rural land? Am I wrong in that?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's not an area I'm an expert in.
Sure. Yeah, well, it will be interesting to see which way they jump, and also it'll be interesting to see which way the Overseas Investment Office jumps, because they seem to be sounding quite a few reservations about this application by the Chinese, don't they? Well,
it's an issue that's sensitive to for all sorts of reasons, and big chunks of land have going to make the headlines when they're for sale.
Now, David, just a thought from you as well. This is a story that's really just broken in the last 24 hours, the idea of this new New Zealand-owned Heartland Bank, for want of a better description, a rural bank maybe. What's your knowledge of who the players are and the likelihood of it coming off?
Well, I don't know about the likelihood, but my understanding of the players is that it's Marek Finance, Canterbury Building Society and the Southern Cross Building Society.
Right.
And this is really the way in which the financial sector is developing in the light of all the problems with finance companies. That the ones who have been in real difficulty have gone out of business, the ones who are able to continue and the other organisations need to become stronger.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's going to come through amalgamation and also subject to stronger regulation so that people can have more confidence in them. So becoming a bank makes a lot of sense, because then they'll have to abide by careful supervision by the Reserve Bank.
Well, we'll be watching developments there with great interest. Finally, and very briefly, Chris, what's in store over the next week? Any predictions?
Well, the big thing that I think we're going to be watching locally is the Reserve Bank. That's next Thursday, and then offshore, I'm sure people will just be looking for more signs of global developments, whether they're going to turn out for the positive or for the negative.
Right. And David, anything of note from you that you think might be happening in the coming week?
Well, I'm hoping we'll have a week with no news. We've had enough bad news to last us for a very long period.
We certainly have. I think I might tend to agree with you, although we mightn't have anything to talk about when we come together next week. However, well, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks to my guest, Senior Economist Chris Tennent-Brown from ASB and BNZ Professor of Finance, David Mays from Auckland University. Thank you both. Well, we'd love to hear your feedback, so please go to our website and drop us a line and have a look at my weekly blog. You can find that and much more besides at www.country99tv.co.nz. See you next week.